and thank you so much for joining us as we are here. Today is Transformation Tuesday. Welcome. We are here with this thought today, and it is inspired by encourage yourself, believe in yourself, and love yourself. Never doubt who you are. For our Tuesday transformation, welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Vibe Talk is always about feelings and emotions, and we're talking about them. Good morning to you. Welcome to the program. We want you to be able to come in and join us from whatever platform you're on. We're streaming wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. As you come in, share with us where you're from, and you can find us right here on Facebook at Vibe Talk, the one with the lion. We're going to talk about how to help us transform ourselves into thinking better thoughts about ourselves. So get ready for our program today. Get ready for that. We will be right back. Did you know that Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast can be found by your Google, Alexa, and Siri? Go ahead, ask Siri, Google, or Alexa for Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are back, and welcome to Transformation Tuesday. When we think about doubting ourselves, what do you all think causes self-doubt? What do you think that comes from? Let's talk about that, because within that are a lot of feelings that you may or may not recognize. Sometimes our experience criticism, perhaps bullying, may stem from that. And our Vibe Talk question is, if you are self-doubting yourself, what is it that you doubt about yourself? That is our Vibe Talk question. What is it that you doubt about yourselves if you have self-doubt? You may call into our program 661-503-8993. Won't you join us? So now, when we think about negative feelings, how do we transform our negative feeling that is so intertwined for such a long time how do we begin to turn those feelings of not being good enough because of experience that you may have? How do we do that? Today we're going to learn how, as we encourage ourselves, believe in ourselves, and love in ourselves. We never want to doubt who we are. We want to be able to, when we make mistakes, we want to strengthen ourselves, not keep remembering mistakes we've made. Because if we didn't make mistakes, we never would challenge ourselves, or we never would have a reason to grow and strengthen ourselves. So today, the first step is to allow yourself, give yourself permission to make mistakes. You must tell yourself, your innermost self, that it is okay to make a mistake. Without those mistakes, how would you learn? So today is Transformation Tuesday. Let's change something in our lives, the way that we speak to ourselves. We want you to not feel that you may not be good enough. We realize that we live in a world of bullying, cyberbullying, and criticism. When we don't trust ourselves, this is all part of our doubting circumstances, decisions that you may make, even defending ourselves. We want you to feel good about who you are, your purpose. We want you to understand how you can help yourselves. How can you help yourself? Now, as we tell all of you that this isn't the program of podcast that will give you the answers, we want you to think about your answers. We want you to be able to find your strength. How many of you have found your own strength? Because if you're doing that, that's a step in the right direction. Finding your strength, what you like, what you dislike. We'll start with me first. The things that I like about myself is that I am very determined. The things I don't like about myself is when I become angry. I know it's a feeling, and I know it's part of an experience for why I'm angry. Nevertheless, I don't like to be angry. What about you? Let's find out what helps you. Let's find that out. We're going to be able to talk to all of you, wherever you live, wherever you are. Thank you for joining our podcast. Has there ever been a time where you just didn't feel like you were good enough? or you have felt like you didn't deserve good things happening in your life. Some of us have felt that way. Good morning and welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. So glad that you all could join us. We are on other forms of stream this morning. How about your experience? We want to have you guys start talking. I am a wellness coach, certified, and how many of you have no confidence or belief in yourself to do necessary things? Many of us have no confidence. Some of us don't believe in ourselves enough, which causes us to be filled with anxiety. We all know what that is. Well, we are going to be right back to talk more about self-doubting. And the reason why we want to talk about this is so that we retrain ourselves. Retrain ourselves to be a better you and I together. To be able to help our lives to realize our potential. Okay? We're going to be right back. We have a lot to cover. We'll be right back. We are back. Now we're talking about self-doubt. I want you to think about the word doubt. And think about the times that you have said, I doubt it. You may or may not have said it about someone or something. Perhaps even yourselves. Today, we're going to talk about ourselves. Because to know oneself is where we start. To know yourself. When we are self-doubting, it is our own or our insecurity or not feeling confident in ourselves. And all of us have done that in our lifetime at one time or another. Now, when we think about self-doubt, let's think about the mindset or what it does to our mindset. Because what it does is it is preventing us from grabbing at any type of success. Come a little closer. When I say that, that means to hear me out. Be ready to listen so as to hear me out. When you self-doubt, it affects your mental self, your mindset. And that's why around here we not only deal with feelings of emotional healing, but we deal with feelings of emotional healing and health as well as mental healing and health. So now you found out that it prevents you. What has self-doubt prevented you from doing? If you're finding this podcast, we want to know, 1, where you're from, and 2, what self-doubt have you had and how it has affected you? Because we know that self-doubt is feelings of our insecurity or lack of confidence. Our mindset, though, let's talk about that because that's important. Let's talk about that. Our being able to grasp our beautiful brains and think about what it prevented us from doing. In life, there's always doors that we go through. Doors of opportunity. There's door number 1, door number 2. But now, how many of us have stopped at door number 1 because we doubted ourselves or we doubted how we felt? We know that self-doubt comes from experience in life, past experience. Perhaps there may be times where someone has said or done something that has made you feel useless. Perhaps feeling a little bit unworthy, or being critical of something that you may have felt you were good at. And it's important for your parents to listen to this, because when your child comes to you and say, "Look, Mom, look, Dad," always validate them with something positive. And it's important to look when they ask you to, even if you're in the middle of something, just one moment, and I would love to look. Just one moment. Because by you affirming what they want you to look at, you build for them confidence that they are worthy of your attention. You see how that works? We want you to understand the impact of what self-doubt does do. After you listen to the program, we'd love to hear from you guys. We live in a world where there's so much pressure. Anybody here feel like they're under pressure about something, for something? Yeah. Sometimes the pressure affects our mental health. So, when we are overcoming our self-doubt, what does that mean? And why is it important to overcome it? Our self-doubt, when it comes to our emotional state, it will justify any circumstances that we're in. We talk about abuse here as a healing stepping stone. Some of you may be in abusive situations, give or take. We want you to realize not to justify it or not to feel like you have to stay in an abusive situation. You must think about yourselves and what will make you feel successful. Sometimes we learn the art of explanation. All of us have a reason, an explanation for something. Kids do it well. The teacher asks, why didn't you do your homework? They're going to give you an excuse. They're always, it's like it's instantaneous. And sometimes as adults, we find that we have to explain why we're in a situation. But now we want you to go through the doors of opportunity when it comes to you yourself to help you change why you are still in self-doubt. Maybe you are in a relationship and you feel self-doubt. Maybe you're in an abusive relationship. And the other spectrum of it, there could be people that are the abuser in the relationship. We look at all sides. Now, what prevents you? You see the prevention there? It prevents you. It stops you from doing something that you may need to do. We are in a hurry to make judgment toward people when we should not. Even telling people or giving people advice, we want to be careful with that, because maybe we see it as abuse, but yet the person that has the experience is not sure of it, still self-doubting it. Sometimes we feel fearful. How many of you have ever felt fearful because you have self-doubted? Good morning and welcome to our program, Where Are You From? Our program is stationed out of West Coast, California. And you are Angel from? And we're so glad to have you. We're talking about self-doubting. And we're asking the question, have you ever self-doubted something? And we're here for you. This is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. If you guys are here today and you enjoy these programs, we have hundreds of podcasts. And we want you to find us on Facebook. Australia. Love it. Love it. What time is it there? Australia. Such a beautiful country, as I've seen on TV. But one day I just might take a plane to go, because I really want to go. I want to visit Australia and Africa. What time is it there? And thank you, Australia. Angel, thank you for joining us. They say it's really hot here. Wow. Is that the usual? We love it when we have a live audience. We encourage you from our Facebook page, where we are at now. Wherever you are, our live comes on. Go and join us, if you will. We also have YouTube. How hot is it there? Okay, it's 12:50 a.m. Wow. I've been up a whole morning already. It's 6:50 here. Wow. And it's hot there. We love to learn about different countries, guys. If you see us, add to our page. Just tell us about something about yourself, your countries and states that you're living in. because we're all about conversation here. So self-doubt. What have you self-doubted? And self-doubting, we talked about mistakes. We talked about learning from mistakes and being able to grow from them. How many of you are terrified? You just dread failure. How many of you are really terrified of failure? Josh, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. And Josh, I owe you. I said, Josh is going to kill me. Angel from Australia says he's afraid of failure. I'm afraid of rejection. Oh, Josh, you're so sweet. Josh is our regular program participant. And yes, we are now nationwide, guys. Josh says, hello, I missed you guys. We missed you too, Josh. And Josh, I know I owe you a shirt. Our shirts, however, they were going to be printed and then we're going to have a new logo. So I'm going to give you another shirt. 2 shirts on me. Because we got to the printing and then we changed our logo. But I can't reveal the logo until our 3rd year anniversary. We invite you guys live there. I missed you too. Oh, Josh, thank you. See, he doesn't doubt me. He says, I know you got me taken care of on your own time. We got you. So for those of you who have been here, Josh, we're talking about what do you doubt about yourself? That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about changing that into belief in yourself. So stay with us. Need to take a commercial break. Do not go away. Stay right where you are. And Josh, you get to hear our new things we got. We've grown. Be right back. Did you know that Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast is now on YouTube? Go click that button and join our YouTube channel. It's Facing the Lion podcast. We're back. And we're talking about not doubting yourselves. Now, when we take on believing in ourselves, that's so different from doubting ourselves. But now our fears prevent us. I said that earlier for those of you who are not here. Josh, tell me again where you're from. Is it Virginia? Sometimes we have big fears. How many of your fears sound like this? You fear showing love to others. That's one of my things. Because I want to prevent the rejection part. Kentucky. I wasn't even close. Kentucky, thank you so much. Australia and Kentucky. Now, many of us fear showing love to others because we fear rejection. Or you feel unlovable. We get into the feelings, as you all know. Some of you fear being kind because you feel like you are not enough. We're going to talk about fear for just a moment. When it comes to you and your fears, your inner feelings are hard to talk about. We're encouraging constantly people to talk and communicate about inner feelings, your inside feelings. We say we want to hear your stories. But yet, what prevents you is the feeling of maybe this scenario. You fear being judged or appearing stupid. This is a no judgment podcast. We want you, for your mental and emotional health, to deal with your inner feelings. Josh, love your comments. Keep your comments coming, ladies and gentlemen. Josh says that that's something that he battles with on a daily basis. And one thing he has realized is by not giving his full effort, he ends up manifesting the one thing that he fears the most: rejection. You are not alone, Josh, my friend, because I just revealed to you fear. Fear. Fear of rejection. When your wellness coach can mention that to you and say, honestly, it helps you to understand. This is all about being able to identify. And thank you for that, Josh. Doubt. What happens is it's like an infection when we start to breed it. Its effect is distrust and insecurity. How many times, because of doubt, have you distrusted maybe your significant other, maybe your parents, maybe you parents have done that to your children without knowing? That distrust and insecurity, no worries, Josh, I know you're good. Love having him on the show. Love having Josh. Josh is a regular all the way from Kentucky. And if we're not here, Josh, we're always on our Facebook page. You can look at our Vibe Talk Reels. I know you have. We used your picture, which is why you got the shirt and never received it. And thank you for being patient. We've made so many changes here, and we thank you so much for understanding. So now let's talk about the breeding of distrust and insecurity. How many times have we hurt others by distrust and insecurity? The reason that we do that is because we've experienced self-doubt. Many of us, ladies and gentlemen, when we have done this, we feel challenged or hurt by someone or something. So as a result of that, here's what happens. You begin to feel paranoid, nervous about others, and suspicious of others. How many of you have felt that? We have felt that. I have felt that. We want to talk about the rest of this Josh, you know that if your phone goes out, that we're always recording our podcast, so you'll be able to find it posted to our page. Okay, Josh? See, Josh knows what to do. His electronic hand is up. So, we have felt those feelings or have made other people feel that because of our experience with self-doubt. Self-doubt. Now, again, we're not the program that tells you exactly what to do, but we're going to help you be able to challenge yourself to know what to do. What to do. And we challenge ourselves by analyzing this podcast. How do we love ourselves? How many of you think that's a tough one? Loving yourself. As many of you know, I started from not loving myself. I could not love myself. And it wasn't because of anything other than my internal struggle. But we have said the words to someone, I love you. Now, I want you to think about this if you'll come closer. How is it that we can utter the words, I love you, to someone else other than ourselves? Because it's easy to love someone else, right? We think they're great. We think they're amazing. You know, to a guy, I would say, I love you because you're charming. I love you because you're sexy. I love you because you have goodness. You have inner beauty, besides of which you are built very handsomely. See, it's easy for me to say all that. But now, how easy is it, and we're going to do a test, how easy is it for you to look at you and say these words? I love you. That's the person that you're talking to in the mirror that you're looking at. See, we do the mirror test here. And we do that mirror talk because it helps you to get in touch with your feelings. It helps you to find love in the person that you are staring in the face of. You find love, you find acceptance. You know all those things I just said about finding it easy to tell a man or a woman that you love them. See, we do those things. Why? Because we know, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me for just a moment. We know, ladies and gentlemen, that it is easier said than done. Easier said than done. You know, we say, well, I'm going to read your comment in just a minute, Josh, because it's important. What you say is very important here, so I didn't forget. But to love others is easier than to love ourselves. We're going to talk about that. Loving yourself, never doubting who you are. We went over that part. Just one moment, guys. About to have some technical difficulty. I'll get this straightened up. Hold on. So, I want you to do this butterfly hug. The butterfly hug is all about acknowledging love for yourself. And here's what we're going to do. Get ready for this, guys. We're going to, right now, cross our arms as if we were living butterflies. Uh-oh. I told you I was about to have technical difficulty. We're live, guys. That's what makes us special. We have resumed our show. Now, Josh says he had to figure out who he was before he could love himself. And before that, he was just trying to be the person he thought that everyone else loved. Josh, you are not alone in that, because so many people can identify, and if you do, anyone who's listening to that, we want Josh to realize that having those feelings is something that we have dealt with. We have dealt with. We know how that feels. I personally know the feeling of that. Now, we're going to go into the butterfly hug. I want to really do this because I think it's important, and I'm learning about it because I do a lot of research here to be able to bring it to you. And the first time I did it was a little uncomfortable. We're going to take our hands, okay? In the palm of your hands, you're going to cross them, or you're going to cross your hands as if you were in a butterfly shape. And you're going to put them nearest your heart. One on your heart and the other one next to it. If you've got a V shape, that's good too. And I want you to pat yourself, because each hand is in the shape of a butterfly. And since today is Tuesday Transformation, we are blooming into butterflies. And I want you, and if you're driving, don't do this until you can get home safely. I want you to pet yourself, and I want you to exhale or inhale. Exhale. And still pet yourself. Remember, your arms are folded. You're in a butterfly shape. Inhale and exhale. Now, keep your arms folded, and I want you to do this, inhaling and exhaling, and tell yourself it is okay for me to receive love while you are inhaling and exhaling. I give myself permission to receive love because I feel love. We're starting with that one. And keep patting yourself as if you are a winged butterfly flying its wings. Stay in that position. That's a butterfly hug. Now, as you have given love, you have received love. I have received love because I am lovable. Inhaling and exhaling. Now the next part may be difficult, whether you believe it or not. I want you to be able to now acknowledge that you're going to hug yourself because you are worthy of love. Inhale, exhale. Now let your butterfly go. Uncross your arms. Now, how many of you found that difficult to do? If you did, we want to hear about that. It's so important that we hear your feedback. And if you didn't before today, you will learn to hug yourself through the butterfly hug. I love that concept. You know, I'm researching constantly to be able to help you help yourself, to transform your maybe negative or challenge you into a healthy mindset of loving on yourselves. And I don't mean that in a immodest way. I mean it in a way to get you healthily, that you do believe in yourself. Yeah, that was one form of it. Loving yourself. What do you need to do more of to love yourself? You see, I could tell you all day long what to do, how to do. But I like to show you what has worked. What I have learned about myself through these. I'm sorry, guys. What I have learned. By the way, our lines are open, either here on our Facebook page or 661-503-8993. You know, we need to think about how we compare ourselves to others. How many people compare themselves to others? How many of you have really compared yourself to others? Anyone? And what does that feel like for you to have compared yourself to others? You know, I think about school age. School age is always a time, and because of my experience with teaching the very young, it makes me think about when the teacher gave you an assignment. Let's say science. You all remember the science projects? And yes, they've had science projects before my time. So, you got your science project and you're all happy about it because it's proven it's worked, and the person that is sitting at your table has a science project too. And what do you say? Oh man, their project is better than mine. Let me enlighten you. Just because it looks better than yours in your perception doesn't mean that that is your best or their best. In other words, you can do what you can do. Stop comparing yourself to others because you don't know that project may have been that person's best. And you don't know if that project would have been your best. You did what you did. And that's what I love is creativity. Point being, find creativity within yourself. All of us, every person I've ever dealt with in life, every person you've ever dealt with in life has creativity. Find your creativity. Stop comparing yourself to others. We're all opinionated, aren't we? We give our opinions. That's why we didn't make this podcast when we came together to form it. It wasn't going to be about opinions. It was going to be about feelings and emotions and how we feel, because people can relate to emotions and experience with feelings, because everybody has an opinion. Like, I really like Sprite. I love Sprite mixed with lemonade. The reason I love Sprite mixed with lemonade is because it's refreshing. That's my opinion, right? Now, the fact that Sprite sells is not an opinion, because we all know that Sprite is a nationwide seller. See, opinion, thinking, and feeling. We want you to think about how you feel. How you feel. Because when you think about and address your feelings, you're able to help others understand what you say, what you mean, how you communicate. If you never communicate or never express your feelings or emotions, I want you to remember the butterfly hug, because you are worthy. See, everybody has an opinion. You know, we all have opinions about what the world is, how we see it. We all have different opinions. And everybody's going to give you your opinion. Have you ever read some of the comments on your Facebook when you're scrolling through and you see something posted and you want to see what the comments are? Try that as an assignment. Everybody's giving their opinion. Not necessarily wrong, not necessarily right. It's how they see things. So I want you to think about not worrying about other people's opinion. Now, something I've been really working on, and I want you to think about this word: toxic. What has become toxic to you? What is toxic to you? We're talking about self-love. We'll be right back as we go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Join us Saturday nights on Instagram Live for After Dark conversations at Vibe Talk After Dark. Check us out. We're back. We are talking about self-love. We have helped you by your helping yourself. Today is Transformation Tuesday, which means some kind of change that you're thinking about when you do Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Now, toxic. What is toxic, or what has been toxic? Perhaps it's relationships, people that are in your lives, things that are in your lives, experiences that you still have in your lives, please don't be afraid to let it go. Everyone say it with me. I let go of all that is toxic. Let it go. Because you see, toxicity has a definite impact on your body, your mind, and the spirit of your body and your mind. It makes you sick. I gave this analogy, and I'm hoping that it will fit for you to deeply understand the toxic in your life. Now, many of you use chemicals for house cleaning, cleaning your cars, and on the bottle of it, it will say or have a picture of toxic. Usually that's a skeleton with something crossed out. When you see that, that means that it will kill you. How many of you have been there where the toxicity has just poisoned you? It has gripped every fiber of your being. It has suffocated you. It has left no room for breath, for living. How many of you have been there? So when you see that, you know that it is toxic. You dare not consume it, those chemicals. So I ask you today, why are you so consumed with toxicity in your life? Be it chemical, be it relationships, be it family members, be it anything, person, place, or thing. See, we must protect ourselves. That, my friends, is self-love. How many of you are willing to really say, I've processed all my fears? If I were to give you an assignment to write down all your fears, your list would probably be very long. We need to process what makes us fearful. I'd like for you, usually I give this on Wednesday Wellness, but because we're not on every day, I'm going to give it an assignment. What makes you afraid? And if you'd like, you can send it directly through our Facebook page, our Instagram pages. Make a list, because see, without you processing that, without you taking a mental note of it, acknowledging it, you can't very well process. Some people are walking around today not even knowing what their fears really are. I want you to know how to accept yourself. To accept yourself without shame, without disappointment, without failure, and without mistakes. Our brain processes our mistakes very quickly. Just like that. Every time we make a mistake, you know what our brain says? You made a mistake. And you know what our heart says? I didn't want to make that mistake. But I want you to bring them together, the heart and mind, and stop the struggle. That on this end of my brain, I can make a mistake, and in my heart, I draw strength from all the mistakes I've made. I want you to stop thinking failure, but think challenge. I challenge myself from this day forward to be able to see me. To see me as I am, my whole self. My whole self. We have a hard time loving and believing in ourselves. That too comes from experience, past experience, past things. I want you to be thinking about the future and what tomorrow looks like for you. When we're loved, like with a butterfly hug, when we feel all those things, we become those things. Sometimes I have said in my lifetime, I don't want to love people. And yet all this work and still more needed on myself, I say, this is where I am, helping other people to see their worth, their love, their compassion. If you've ever felt love towards something and compassion for something or someone, if you can feel that, you can be that. You know, many of us are compassionate about many things. When I look at myself, I love children. And I love children because children, the things that they say, the things that they do are so adorable. Most children. I want you to be able to really think about how you feel about the compassion that you feel. How do you feel about that? I want you to be able to receive that compassion that you feel, honestly. If you can feel that, you can be that. It's not always easy, ladies and gentlemen. Make it a challenge. Here's what we do. We are not good at treating ourselves like love. Instead, we dismiss how we feel, but we would never, treat others the way that we have treated ourselves. But we need to feel compassion. We need to feel it toward ourselves. Now, there once was a famous saying, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. We know that you all are fighting something in your life. But now, we've been faced with betrayals, adversity, losses in our lives. And so now, it becomes a challenge to self-compassion. We're more negative when we think about what has happened in our life struggle, because we've all had them. We've all had life struggles. We have grown up in various homes, in various family lifestyles. Some have felt unworthy of love, valueless, and even unlovable. So now, we have piled on top of all of that negative. So a negative plus a negative equals what? In the real world, a negative. You cannot draw from negative plus negative or negative times negative. But here is what we can do. Our survival depends on what our mind thinks. Remember how I talked about growing up in different households and family lifestyles? Some of you have grown up in not so good lifestyles, but you have survived. That means that you have taken the negative, and now as you've grown up and developed into your own adulting, you have had positive things. I want you to realize something about yourself as you analyze yourself. You have the right to be happy. I'm going to say it again. You have the right to be happy. There's no need to ever doubt that. If you can give happy, you can be happy. You know, happiness in life depends on how you're going to go about it. And that's not my job to tell you to go about it. But I want you to know that when you are achieving happiness, you're going to start to feel connected. You're going to have inner peace. That's important to me, is to let no one disturb inner peace. You're going to look at the world around you and reflect on what you can do to help make your surroundings better. Because sometimes we get in the thing of everybody gets on the same kick of let's make the world better, when we just have a tough time making ourselves better. So let's start the initiation of making ourselves better by embracing ourselves, having that inner peace, and being able to feel the compassion. You know, the compassion that I told you I feel toward children. Many of you have it, and we see it daily. You know, I've seen discussions of where people really love their dogs, their animals, and they love animals, and they fight for the right to keep animal preservation. I love that. But do I love myself that much? Let's think about that. We know that loving ourselves is more than just being good to ourselves. You know, sometimes I'm good to myself and I go out and I say, you know what, today I'm going to go get a massage. Feels good. I've taken care of the stress. Or I'm going to go to, last 2 weeks I went to downtown Disney here in LA. Felt good. Bought a couple of things. Feel good. Or flowers. I'm doing a flower growing now, which reminds me each day to take care of myself. Because when I water that plant, that's a symbolization of needing to water myself and nurture myself so that I can grow each day. And try that at home, folks. The watering plants. We want you to think about your inner strength. How you feel about yourself, finding your strength, your creativity, and embracing all of the human emotion. Because really, that's what this challenge of facing the lion is all about. You may feel sad, you may feel pain, but there's always a reason of why you feel the reasons you do. And a lot of yous out there, and I say yous, Y-O-U-S, are not willing to talk about it because you're still riddled with guilt, shame. Forbidden taboo that you shouldn't talk about it. But we encourage you here to talk about it because it's part of embracing your feelings. And we do that, why? So that you can begin your healing process. I love the feeling of being able to meet you where you're at. There's always this saying to meet people where they are at. If I find that I met you and you're feeling depressed, well, let's start from there. Let's help you to understand the depression. Let's get to the root of the problem or the challenge. Challenge yourself if you're feeling depressed. We encourage you because we are not doctors, my co-host and myself. I am a professional, certified wellness and life coach. Helping myself. That's the blessing. And then in turn, helping you. We want to be able to put loving kindness into our world toward ourselves. You know, I use this analogy. You know, sometimes when we have animals, I don't have an animal. My son has a pet turtle because I have no time to take care of him, and it would be unfair to have a puppy. And I'm not home enough. But now for those of you who do, how many times have you come home and your dog or cat has gotten into something and you've been really mad at the animals or fur babies that you love so much? You know, the dog has gotten into the trash, the cat has done God knows what. You don't throw them away. They're still the fur babies that you love because they're part of your family. By your own admissions. What do? You still love them. You might be mad because they did that, but the next 15 minutes, they're going to come to you to get a pat or a hug. That's how you should be to yourselves. Remember the butterfly hug here. It's so very important. We want you to take Vibe Talk and use it as your stepping tool. I said the thing about depression. You know, if you're depressed, there's no guilt or shame in saying, I feel depressed. I watched something that I really appreciate. It was an experience from a woman who had depression. And what she said about depression was that she needed to find out why. Why did she feel depressed? And she says she began to talk to God. And as she talked to God, the answer was found. She began to research. And all of a sudden, she did not remedy the problem then, but it was a stepping stone to why she was depressed. Because if you don't find out the why, you can't find out the what. Or if you don't find out the what, you certainly can't fix why. So you need to find out why you're depressed. We have resources for you. But now I want you to be gentle with yourself, to pour that love back into yourself. Because many of you, again, have spent thousands of dollars to try to remedy what is wrong with you. I want you to be more compassionate and not just do a fixer-upper, but to really think about your inner peace, your loving yourself, your being able to have it toward others. Challenge yourself to love yourself all the more. I want to thank our audience member from Australia. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to thank Josh, who is our regular from Kentucky. Thank you for being here. And I want to say a very big thank you to all of you who support us, who look for us, who have subscribed. As you have heard, our commercials are done by our very own Trish and myself. Trish is my co-host. I am the host. We appreciate all that you guys do to make us what we are today. If you have a story you'd like to tell us, you can jump online. You can text it to us, 661-503-8993. You can always find something to talk about. We hope that you have more belief in yourself this day and never doubting who you are. Vibe Talk asked the final question: what did you learn from today's podcast and how did it make you feel? I'll start with me. I learned from this podcast how to be truthful with myself, and that it's okay to feel self-doubt, but it's never okay to stay in self-doubt. We never want to give you guys a message of telling you what to do. We always give you inspiration. I am not a doctor, and I always say that and remind myself, when you become a life coach, a lot of people want to know what is a life coach. Well, we're not supposed to be doctors because the medical field has spent so many hours in the medical profession, and we do not want to misdiagnose you. So when we say that, we're not being funny, we're just being legal. However, I do give counseling. I am certified to do the counseling part of the well coaching. I am not a medical professional. So I want you guys to know that. Here's what I want, is to help you feel inspired. I want you to feel motivated. I want you to be the you. And that's all you can be. This has been Vibe Talk. I want to say thank you to everyone who listens to our podcast. We do have them. And thank you so much when you hear our podcast, don't be afraid to send us a comment or two. Tell us what state you're from. The reason we do that, because at the end of the year, we want to make sure that your communities are hearing about us. People are looking for mental and emotional help. There's a lot of stuff going on out here. I want to say thank you, and I wish you more of a challenge on this Transformation Tuesday to change your life for the better, change your life for the best. And those of you who are doing it, we see you and we hear you. So thank you. One more announcement before we go is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast is putting together a group. When you're in a group, it's group talking, and we will be on live video. If you think you might be interested in that, you can send us a message through our social media pages. Just say you're interested in the group, and we're going to form it together. We're also looking for a place in Los Angeles to have brick and mortar. That means a real building that people can actually come to. And we're going to do some exciting things. And we don't charge for anything. Donations are always welcome, and therefore, if you choose to do that at any time at your own discretion, they're always for the good of this program, to help people deal with their feelings and emotions, and we do all kind of things. Wednesday Wellness is all about art through expression, and I didn't really give an art because on Wednesday I do, but I want you to think about your creativity. What are you creative in? And let us know about that. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion will be with you once again. Thanks everybody for joining us, and remember to challenge yourself always to make change in your life. Thank you for joining us.